Hello everyone, this is Orhan Erdem, Professor of Finance at Rockford University. Welcome to my podcast, Financially Yours, where I will share my perspectives on everyday economic and financial issues. In this episode, I will talk about the interaction between society and the principles of economics. This will be an introductory episode for an ongoing discussion, of course. To explain the current situation, I will start with a story. Elena, the wife of Ivan, one day told his husband that she wanted to see the crocodile on view in the arcade, a shopping mall and recreation complex in St. Petersburg of Imperial Russia. Ivan, who was planning to visit Europe, agreed with her wife and they both set off for the arcade. While the visit was going on very well, at some point, the crocodile made a quick attempt to catch Ivan and swallowed him. Terrified by what she saw, Elena asked the owner of the crocodile that the animal's stomach be cut and opened so that her husband is released. The proprietor, who is a German gentleman, was very angry about the proposal and did not accept it. He said he would make more money with a crocodile that has a human in his stomach because there will be higher demand. The higher the demand, the higher the price. Basic economics, right? While Elena and the German were arguing about whether or not to cut the crocodile, they heard Ivan's voice. The German is right. The principles of economics before everything. Everybody was shocked by what they heard. Yes, it was Ivan's voice coming from the crocodile's stomach. He even continued making economic recommendations. In our age of industrial crisis, it's not easy to rip open the belly of a crocodile without economic compensation. And how will I pay for it? As Elena was astounded about what's going on, she was happy that her husband was alive. However, she did not understand the point of what his husband said. Instead of worrying about his life or health, he was discussing economics. She said she did not get it. Even worse now, one of her friends tried to calm her, explaining to her the benefits of foreign capital in a country. As the discussion continued for hours and hours, the proprietor brings another issue to the table. You should pay more as you stay here more. Either leave the arcade or pay extra. Before they decided to leave the arcade, Ivan told them to reach out a friend to solve the issue. His name was Timothy. Desperately, they all left the building, leaving Ivan in the crocodile's stomach. The next day, Ivan's friends found out Timothy, explaining the situation and asking for help. Interestingly enough, Timothy reproached Ivan for being conceited. According to Timothy, Ivan was poking his nose into everything, so he went to the arcade and got into the trouble. He basically blamed Ivan because the crocodile is a private property, and he went into the crocodile without permission. He also gave a long talk about the importance of foreign capital, which helps create a bourgeoisie, and that Ivan ruined Russian efforts by harming the crocodile of a German, a foreign investor. Timothy was on the German side. The country needed to protect foreign investors. When Ivan's friends came back to Ivan and described in a desperate manner the hopeless conversation they had with Timothy, Ivan said Timothy was right. They were shocked. His friends thought that being in the dark made him sick or put him in a fever. Ivan explained to his friends how important foreign capital is and how he is serving his country in the stomach of a crocodile. He said he would be rewarded when he found a way out. Contrary though it may seem, Ivan said he was developing his own theories of economics, most of which were based on the idea that exhibiting a crocodile in Russia is beneficial for Russians. He was theorizing that a crocodile with a man in it is worth a lot. I should iterate once again. Ivan was still inside the crocodile, but he was arguing that this was great for his country. As Ivan was happily building his theories, he told one of his friends to invite his wife Elena to inside the crocodile. They would live there forever and Ivan would have the opportunity to be one of the greatest economic theorists of his era. He would construct theories to save the fate of the humanity. However, on the other side, the newspapers started writing about Ivan. A foreigner arrives in the capital bringing with him a crocodile which he begins exhibiting in the arcade. Yesterday, a gentleman enters the foreigner's shop pays his entrance money, and immediately, without any warning, leaps into the jaws of the crocodile, who was forced, of course, to swallow him. The newspaper was pitying the crocodile instead of Ivan. They called the incidents a barbarous treatment of domestic animals. This story, which looks kind of unfinished, is written by Dostoevsky in 1865. It takes place in the Arcade, a real building in St. Petersburg, which represents the Western influence on Russia by its style. A live crocodile was reported to be exhibited there in 1864, and its owner were mentioned in Dostoevsky's other non-fiction book called Notes from Underground. Fyodor Mikhailovich Dostoevsky was a Russian novelist, essayist and journalist who understood very well how humans interact and behave in markets, as well as how the markets work. He successfully depicted the problems of markets and biases of human decision-making in his novels. Therefore, I think his novels and short stories still stand as great critics of economic theories and economic decision-making. This story basically describes a couple of issues related to today's world, where economic and financial activities are mostly, if not entirely, measured by the money they produced. The emotions and the existence of humans, as well as environmental or societal factors of production, are mostly ignored. I think the description of society's reactions to poor Ivan, which was basically based on the money his being in the crocodile's stomach would create, is a great illustration of the monstrosity of the modern business world. Dostoevsky criticized how modern economic understanding undervalued our humane sides, but instead overvalued money and trade. You might think, what does a novelist have to do with economics? Northwestern University professors Gary Morson and Morton Schapiro answer this question in their brilliant book, Sense and Sensibility. Quote, "Economics inevitably involves ethical questions, not reducible to economics itself or any social science, like fair market price. The works of Dostoevsky and others share a sense that ethical questions are often too complex and too important to be safely handed to any theory." Unquote. I should illustrate what I mean by two examples. Gary Becker, who received the Nobel Prize in Economics in 1992, claimed that people had children because children were durable goods, no different than refrigerator, washing machine, or hair dryer. The 1982 Nobel laureate George Stigler wrote in 1977 that the tastes of people are similar and do not change over time. This claim means that everybody has the same preferences over choices like food, cars, and houses and everything. If you are thinking that these are extreme examples, you are wrong. Most of the mainstream economic theory, which forms the basis of modern economics policies of many governments, is based on similar assumptions. Assumptions that mostly ignore humans and humane values became widespread. In the years after Dostoevsky's death, the principles of economics have become more inhumane. Even though the writings of many early scholars like Adam Smith were emphasizing the social aspects of economics, this thought disappeared at the beginning of the 20th century. Even though economics is assumed to be a social science, modern economic theory was built on the foundations of human interaction and humane values. In time, especially with the widespread use of money, it became more concentrated on the value maximization of firms and corporations. This perspective mostly ignored humans. Now, economists are working on new theories which accept humans as humans who have emotions, feelings, and values. Let's talk about these theories in the coming episodes. Financially yours. You can reach me out at orhanerdem, as in Mary, @gmail.com.